interesting place, Lexington, Kentucky, as Kentucky hosted the Arkansas Razorbacks on Saturday. Now, this wasn't one of the bigger games. Arkansas isn't very good. You know that. I mean, I was there for the height of Arkansas season when they beat Duke at home. But the game in Lexington was a fascinating game. It was certainly an entertaining game as Arkansas just showed up ready to play, ready to go. And then in the second half of the game, and really the second half of the second half, if you will, it was all Kentucky and specifically Rob Dillingham who took over late as the Kentucky Wildcats beat the Arkansas Razorbacks 111-102. We used to call the St. Louis Rams the greatest show on turf. I don't know what the nickname is for this Kentucky team, but I will tell you this. They sure are fun to watch as they put up 111 points against Arkansas. And so if you're subscribed on YouTube, I did a kind of a quick, 8-9 minute reaction video to that game. And I want to talk about that game. I want to talk about the game, but I also will say this about the reaction video, which is kind of stemming and kind of bringing up the conversation that we're going to have right now. And that's this. I can genuinely say there aren't very many things in this industry that surprise me anymore. Seen it all, done it all, whatever. I was genuinely shocked over how many people watched the Kentucky reaction video on Saturday into Sunday. And rather than enjoying a Kentucky team that put up 111 points, is maybe the most entertaining team in college basketball, I would say probably 2 out of every 3 comments were something like this. Torres, that was fun. I enjoyed watching that game. But we don't play enough defense. We're destined to lose in March. I'm so sad already. And so, one, I don't think that's a very good way to enjoy a season. That's first of all. But 2, I have some thoughts on the idea of, is Kentucky's offense so good that it doesn't matter because it's at the detriment of a defense that can't stop anybody? First off, really quickly on this game, one, it was a really fun game, but it wasn't just a really fun game. It was like it was just a really, I don't know, maybe fun is the right word, because Kentucky comes in, they're coming off, the big road win, buzzer beater for Reed Sheppard against Mississippi State. But this was kind of the tricky one. I even talked to a buddy of mine who's a Kentucky fan who listens to this show on Friday afternoon. And he said, dude, this is the one that worries me. Arkansas is good. Arkansas is capable. If we don't show up, we can lose this game. And I'll be honest, I don't know that I really thought Kentucky was going to lose this game, but it crept in my mind that it could happen. And then you know what happened? I'll be honest. Final 5-6 minutes, Rob Dillingham just went God mode, okay? So it's really interesting because one thing about this Kentucky team, they have so many guys that could beat you. We were talking about Reed Sheppard last week, we were just going crazy about Reed Sheppard. I include myself on this show. I bring it up because Reed Sheppard was really good on Saturday, but Rob Dillingham was better. You wouldn't know it if you just looked at the box score, but if you watch the game, it felt like this guy made every single play down the stretch. Layups, runners, three-pointers, and ones. He had a couple great assists. He only finished with 15 points and 5 assists. It felt like he had 32 and 14 or something like that. I mean, he was so good over the final stretch. And so when I watched that game, what I think especially stood out to me was as follows, was the idea that I don't think there is a single team in college basketball. There's a few, but not many. Maybe UConn, maybe Arizona, but teams that can just have a single guy carry you on any given night. Do you know that in this game for Kentucky had 7 different players score in double figures? That's insane for a college game. I think Kentucky has been so awesome offensively, and we've seen other great offense from UConn, from Alabama, from Arizona, from whoever. We just take for granted, college basketball teams do not just score 111 points. That's not what happens. But what's more impressive is it's not a Tennessee Dalton Connect situation. Tennessee can put up 100, but generally Dalton Connect's going to have to get 30 to 35 to 40 of them. With Kentucky, think about just the last 3 games. Rob Dillingham is the star of the game on Saturday. Tuesday, it was Reed Sheppard. Last Saturday, it was Justin Edwards. What did he go for? 30-something points, 10 for 10 from the field, 4 for 4 from three. So they have so many different guys that can beat you. Aaron Bradshaw played his best game of the season by far, 15 points. DJ Wagner had 19 points, best game for him since he came back from injury. I saw Eric Musselman say it after the game. He said, that team is unbelievable. They can win a national championship. And so Eric Musselman said it. I think this team is good. But as I said, I was amazed at the number of Kentucky fans that were just like, Torres, we're doomed. We can't stop anybody. We stink. What are we going to do? I'm so worried. I'm so nervous. Whatever. Well, first of all, relax. There's still like 3 weeks left in the season, 4 weeks left. Enjoy this time. You wait all year for March. Enjoy it. You have a team that is capable of beating anybody, so enjoy that. Because there's probably about, there's going to be probably 62 teams in the NCAA tournament that even on their best night are not capable of beating whoever they match up with, depending on who the matchup is. Kentucky can beat any single team that they beat, that they play, excuse me. I can promise you that. But really, to me, there's a few reasons why I'm just not as concerned as everybody else. One, I'm just going to say it. This Arkansas team has talent. Now, it has not gone well. It's been a disappointing year. The staff would tell you that. The players would tell you that. The fans would tell you that. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat, oh, they're awesome and they're going to make a run at the SEC tournament. That's not what I'm going to say. But at the same time, what did I just tell you? They beat Duke in December. I was there. They rushed the court. I was there for that. Thankfully, Kyle Filipowski was off the court in that game. There was no issue. But I was at that game. They beat Duke. By the way, they beat Purdue in the preseason in a charity exhibition when both teams were trying. They played Purdue tougher than anybody in the Big Ten is playing them right now. So this team is capable. By the way, they get buckets. Caleb Battle had 42 points the other night. He had 32 against Kentucky. So it's not like they're incapable. Tremont Marks, an 18, 19-point-a-game scorer. So it's not like they're incapable. But two, why I wouldn't be worried if I'm a Kentucky fan is that fundamentally, you know what leads to success in the NCAA tournament? You have two things, really. Well, three things. You got to have guards. Kentucky's got that. You got to have NBA talent. I say it all the time. Look at the history of this tournament. The single biggest variable in March. Do you have NBA dudes? UConn had 3 of them last year that are now in the league. Adama Sanogo, Jordan Hawkins, Andre Jackson. Probably another 2 or 3 that are going to be in the league next year. Tristan Newton, not Cam Spencer, he wasn't there last year. Alex Caravan, Donovan Clingan. Even Virginia, when they won the national championship, had 3 dudes that played in the NBA. So to me, having NBA guys matters. But beyond that, I always say this. If you are a college basketball team and fan base that wants to compete for a national championship, you know what the number one X factor is? You have to be able to win games in a number of ways. If you are the old Tennessee teams, pre-Dalton Connect, and you can only score 60 points a game, you can't win 6 straight. It's not going to happen. Same with Virginia. The one year Virginia won a title, it was their best offensive team by a mile. And so I only bring it up because if I had the choice between having too much defense and not enough offense, or too much offense and not quite enough defense, I would take the latter. Because the good news, if you're Kentucky, there's 2 good pieces of news. One, you still can get better. And I know fans don't want to hear it. It's March. It's too late. We can't figure this thing out. Remember, you still have people coming in and out of this lineup. Trey Mitchell was not playing for the last 3 or 4 weeks. Calipari said it after the game. I was trying to get him going, and at a certain point, I realized he did not have it. And I had to go with Big Z. I had to go with Aaron Bradshaw. I had to go with whoever. And so you have that variable. One, they're still figuring things out. They can get better. I give Calipari credit. I know everybody wants to tell me how terrible Calipari is, but he rode the hot hands. I think he's still I think it's going to be a game-by-game, matchup-by-matchup basis. Who's playing well, who isn't. And then I think there's also this. If there's a silver lining, you can get better, but also you're so talented offensively that you're never going to be out of a game. Like, look at Virginia. We're not going to talk about Virginia Duke because guess what? They played on Saturday. But Duke went up like 22-8 with 11 minutes into the game, and the game was over. Virginia's not capable of overcoming that kind of deficit. And so Kentucky can get buckets. Kentucky can make a 10-2 run over a 2-minute period. We saw it against Mississippi State. They were down by double figures in the second half and came back and won the game. And so I get that you want it to be better. I get that you're hoping that it does get better. But I watch all these teams. I don't think there's a single team in college basketball that you can't go bucket for bucket with. And if you can score 110, 111, 108, even on bad teams, that means against good defensive teams, you're going to be able to get the points needed to win. And then it comes down to whether you can get the stops or not. So if I was a Kentucky fan, I wouldn't freak out. I wouldn't be worried. I wouldn't be terrified. By the way, enjoy this season. Think about last year. Severe Wheeler at point guard, Oscar Tshiebwe. The entire offense was missed three-pointers and hoping Oscar got a putback. Compare that to this year. You just put up 111 points and now people are complaining. Swear, fans, fan is short for fanatic, but I could not believe the reaction on all of this when I was kind of going through stuff over the course of the weekend.